The best buckets ever. Welcome back. Simon Says Farms. We're here over at House of Pie. We're just getting stuff done, and thank you for whoever sent those. They're 7-gallon buckets. 5 gallons has become like industry standard, right? You can buy them anywhere. Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart, Tractor Supply, you name it. Typical 5-gallon bucket. That same form factor, 7-gallon bucket. Now, a gallon of water weighs about 8 pounds, right? So with that said, 8 pounds times 4 gallons is 8 pounds times 4 gallons is 32 pounds per bucket. Now you're probably wondering, why did he only multiply it by 4 and not by 5? Because you really can't fit 5 gallons in a 5-gallon bucket. Now you could, but when we're traveling as far as we do, it all on the bucket of the tractor, you're gonna lose about a gallon. So you leave the top couple inches short. So in a 5-gallon bucket, you're only fitting 4 gallons, but in a 7-gallon bucket, you're fitting 6 gallons. Whoa. So if the other one was fitting 4 and this one's fitting 6, it is 50% better. It's math day, I guess. So now what it does for us is it makes 1 trip with the tractor. So 4 of the 7-gallon buckets, which you're now only getting 6 gallons in, is 24 gallons of water in 1 trip. And then you fill the trough right here. That trough actually gets filled by the rain. And same thing with the one over there, but the inside ones you gotta do by hand. And the white buckets at 7 gallons, which are technically, you're only fitting in 6, you take 1 trip. Now they're heavy. They're a good 50 pounds when they're full, when you have all that water in them. I mean, it's a workout. It's like going to the gym, but you only have to make the trip once. And your trough pretty much gets refilled all the way to the top. Now, these troughs are bigger than 25-gallon troughs, but by the time we come out here, they're half empty, so we're filling them. So it makes 1 trip. You don't have to go all the way back with the tractor, refill again, come all the way back. So it's a big, it saves those buckets, probably save us. They're not cheap. That's the problem. Regular 5-gallon bucket is like $4. These are about $20. So now you're wondering, is it really worth it? Well, let's see. If your time is valuable and that $20, you invest in these buckets, that's $20 times 4 buckets, that's $80. However, it saved a whole trip back, sitting there filling all the buckets, 6 of them, if you stayed with 5-gallon buckets, filling 6 buckets, and then driving back. It probably saves you 20 minutes every other day. So that is an hour or 2 a week, probably close to an hour a week. Let's say 2 hours total in a week. These white buckets save you 2 hours at $80. That's $40 an hour, right? However, these buckets are going to be around for a long time, close to a year before they break and handles break off and stuff. So if they can save me 2 hours a week, they're saving me 100 hours a year. Take that $80 divided by 100, it's like $1 or ish, maybe a little more per hour. It's worth it. It's totally worth it, is what I was trying to say, if that math all made sense. This bucket actually has to stay here because the broken buckets with no handles right there, they turn into garbage cans. So they don't even become useless once the handles break off. They just become something else. Now in this case, somebody sent these to us because they're amazing. We got a bunch of amazing people. And there's people out there that are like, look, I have too much lotion. I have way too much soap. I'm not that dirty. I've already bought you coffee, but I really appreciate what you guys do. The hard work, the constant, the transparency, the everything. I want to help you. What do you need? And that's where that like wish list comes into play. The kids, at one point I put a whole bunch of like Taco Bell and McDonald's and Dunkin' Donuts and stuff like that, because that just gets kids excited. Like, hey, I got a couple gift cards. Let's put them in a fishbowl and pick one out. And ding, 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 let's go to Starbucks or let's go to McDonald's. And we'll get something. And 25 bucks doesn't even cover everybody. But that's fun. But I took all that out. It's not there anymore. I don't think there's anything on the wish list right now. now that that's done, what am I going to talk about? Let's talk about yesterday a little. So I went and got my MRI on my hip done. As some of you know, I missed that appointment. It got canceled. Don't know if you watched that video. Had to redo it, reschedule it. We were able to squeeze it in yesterday. I actually had 2 doctor's appointments yesterday. One for sciatica pain in my back. Weird. I actually have more hardware than most people. I have an L6, if that makes sense. At the bottom of my spine, I have, you usually go L5 and then S1. I have an L6. We all knew I was special in some way. I was born with extra hardware. Now, normally, the 20% of the United States population have an L6. Way down here, way down at the bottom of your back and your spine, those little sections, and then in between each one is a, you know, a cushion, let's call it, like a disc that's supposed to be soft. Well, between L6 and S1, you don't get a cushion. It doesn't get designed that way. And so you got 2 bones with no gap, no space, and unfortunately there's nothing you can do. You were born that way. It is what it is. If, as I get really, really old, it becomes debilitating, painful, which sometimes right now when that sciatica really like ramps up, and we don't know if it's 100% related, the sciatica versus L6 thing. In the end, there's nothing we can do, really. It all comes down to exercise, core strength, get your back and your belly. This belly is not muscle. Like, start going to the gym, which is crazy because I'm nonstop a pretty physical person, but it's not the right type of exercise. So I might end up in physical therapy for this to do some core stuff, get trained. Liz is gonna have to go to physical therapy soon for her knee surgery. We'll be physical therapy buddies. While I was down there, I had to drive almost to New York, Greenwich, Connecticut. If you've never been to Greenwich, Connecticut, a bunch of famous people live there. Like, I think Harrison Ford lives there. Is he even still famous? Scooter Braun, Mel Gibson, and Adam Sandler all live or did live at one time in Greenwich, Connecticut. So when you're down there, it is the rich of the rich, the ridiculous. I think it was labeled as one of the most affluent areas of our country. So when you're driving around, you see everything from Rolls Royces to, what did I see? Those Range Rovers and like all that stuff. So I had time to waste. I had to just walk around in this crazy city that was city/town that was full of things like fancy stores where I walked in and saw this Rolex. Now, I am not buying a Rolex. It is not happening, but it's that brand that's been around forever. So for shits and giggles, I asked how much, and they had one, this one right here you see on the screen, from 1979, my birthday, and it was only $22,000. Not happening, ever. I know I said that not happening about a Frenchie once before. But, you know, life changes, things happen, and sometimes you adjust and adapt, and I am not, no way, ever spending that kind of money on a watch. It's just not, I don't understand it, but it was interesting to walk around and look at some of the cool stuff and neat stuff, and like, it's just interesting. And there was even a section where these houses were so big and beautiful and like well-groomed, and you could tell somebody famous lives there or has for, I don't want to say hundreds of years because our country's not that old, but for like a very long time because these houses are old, and the privacy stone walls are 9 feet tall. So you can't see into the property. So it was built that way even back in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, whenever these houses were built. Ridiculous like history down there. But yeah, so I got my knee MRI. It took 27 minutes, not 45 like the lady that canceled the appointment said it would. I ended up going to a pizza place for lunch off the highway because McDonald's wanted $18.99 for a Big Mac on the highway. That was kind of strange. I was like, oh, no way. No way. You're paying for convenience. I had to get out of my car anyways to come into the rest stop, so convenience is out the window. And there was a line. It was $19 for crap. So I went to this little tiny pizza place off the highway, grabbed a couple slices, and made it back home. We have tons of leftover tortellini salad from our time on the boat, and I got your comments from some of you. I almost spit out my coffee when you talked about Wilson and the river. That was pretty funny. We wanted to go try to catch Wilson with the boat, like on anchor and go try to find him. But we were playing Uno and it was a pretty intense game. So we just kept going. So as a business owner, I'm always dreaming, always thinking, let's fast forward 5 years from now. Maybe we have a retail store that's open 24 hours a day. That's not here on the farm. It's in some type of plaza somewhere. So in that strip down in Greenwich, there was this empty spot. I'd love to know what they want for a lease, but again, that's years and years and years away, but it helps you understand what things go for. So later that night, I did get out hunting, which in my case was bird watching, for like an hour. I sat in my blind, I listened to nature, saw a couple birds, but I definitely saw this. Look at the colors we're getting. Look at the colors we're starting to get on the trees. Beautiful. The sound in the background of the plumber working, not so beautiful, but it is what it is. So that's it. That's my story for the day. One last thing. Quinn and Olivia are feeling better, but now Jake is sick. It's making its way around. He's got the fever, the sore throat, the home from school. Still hanging in there. Liz, Tyler, myself, still hanging in there. We spend more time around goat poop than anyone else, so we got the poop immunity. And it's real. Poop immunity is real. If you know what I'm talking about, put it in the comments below. Poop immunity. It's really dirt immunity. Spend more time in the dirt and in the woods and around the animals, and you don't get sick as much. All right. See you tomorrow.